According to reports, a group of Christian leaders visited the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to discuss theological issues, especially the nature of Jesus alayhi salam. The discussion did not reach far, so they proposed a Mubahala. This is where both parties would invoke God's curse on the liars to determine the truth. This event has been mentioned in the Holy Qur'an. The Christians, upon seeing the Prophet Muhammad with his closest family members, his daughter Lady Fatima, Imam Ali and his grandsons Hasan and Husayn, peace be upon them all, decided to avoid the Mubahala. Instead, the Christians asked the Prophet not to do the Mubahala anymore and asked him to make another resolution. They agreed upon a peace treaty with certain conditions. This way, the Prophet became victorious in this event. This victory is not only a sign of the truth of the Prophet's claim, but also shows the position of his family members. Recently, there have been circulating videos and articles claiming that the Christians are actually the ones that were victorious. They claim the curse of God was actually sent down upon the Prophet and his family. Here are some of their arguments.
Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in his voluminous Fath ul-Bari fi Sharh Sahih al-Bukhari wrote,
"Some of the benefits of this hadith is that one can do mubahala with an opponent if he insists, after losing the argument. What is known by experience is that one who takes part in mubahala to support falsehood, will not survive its first anniversary."
The Mubahala happened in October, 631 AD. Prophet Muhammad died a painful death on the 7th of June 632 AD, or before the completion of first year of the Mubahala. Point to note. According to Ibn Hajar,
"What is known by experience is that one who takes part in mubahala to support falsehood will not survive its first anniversary."
And Muhammad, who cursed the Christian delegation, died approximately in a year. Does it not raise serious questions on Prophet Muhammad's claim to be a true prophet, even by Islamic criteria? Shortly after the death of Prophet Muhammad, Fatima, his daughter, was killed. Fatima also died in the same year as Prophet Muhammad. 29 years after the death of Muhammad, Ali was also killed. 10 years later, it was Hassan's turn to meet his demise. 10 years later, it was Husayn's turn to meet his demise.
They use a reference of a multi-volume commentary of Bukhari, without any references or page numbers or anything of such. They claim that whoever takes part in the Mubahala to support their falsehood will not survive its first anniversary. So they claim the Mubahala happened in October 631 AD, and the Prophet dies a painful death in June 632 AD. Therefore, their claim is the Prophet was cursed by the Christians because he died in the first year. Shortly after, they say Sayida Fatima was killed and died in the same year as the Prophet. 29 years later, after the death of the Prophet, Imam Ali was also killed. Then 10 years after that, Imam Hasan was poisoned. Then 10 years after, Imam Husayn was martyred. They claim this is all from the curse of Allah. The first problem with these false claims is these Christians have no proper historical evidence or sources of the Mubahala ever happening. So they use Islamic sources. All Islamic sources say that the Mubahala cursing never happened. So the claim of the Prophet being cursed is false. Secondly, let's assume Mubahala happened, even though it didn't. These Christians claim that whoever takes part in Mubahala to support their falsehood will not survive its first anniversary. According to proper Islamic sources, Mubahala could have happened either on the 24th of Dhul Hijjah in the 9th year after Hijrah or the 10th year after Hijrah. The Prophet passed away on the 28th of Safar in the 11th year after Hijrah, according to reliable sources. Let's assume the worst case scenario that Mubahala happened on the 10th year after Hijrah. The original Hijri date when the Prophet migrated actually started in the month Rabi' al-Awwal. So let's count how many months. Let's start on the day of Mubahala, 10 AH. 1, 2. That is year 10 AH. Now year 11 starts. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the Prophet passed away on the 14th month. That is way past the first anniversary. As for Sayida Fatima, Imam Ali, Hasan and Husayn, peace be upon them, it is clear they did not die in the first anniversary. So there goes that theory. Thirdly, what does the word curse, la'an, mean in Arabic literature? It means that God will remove His mercy from such people. According to the Qur'an, the Prophet is a mercy to the whole world. Therefore, the theory of being cursed or removing God's mercy is not true, especially if these so-called Christians have been using Qur'an as evidence, since the whole argument from the Christians is based on Islamic sources and not their own sources. Fourthly, what happened to the Christian leaders at that time? Maybe they were all cursed. Maybe they all had a terrible end. Maybe they all died in the first anniversary. All we know is that they do not exist. So there is no point jumping to assumptions without evidence. The same way we have solid facts that the Mubahala did not happen, there is no point assuming the Prophet and his family were cursed. Certainty always comes before assumptions. 5. The Prophet already knew his grandson Imam Husayn will be martyred, way before the Mubahala. Therefore, this cannot be used as evidence as a curse from the Mubahala. 6. The verse didn't say we ask Allah to cause death to the liars. The verse said we ask Allah to take His mercy from the liars. Death is not a curse. What has death have to do with this? Every soul will taste death. Life and death are tests from God. Everybody dies and nobody is exempted from dying, not even a prophet. Even Jesus will die. It is just how God planned and created things. Mubahala does not mean death. Mubahala means that the liar will be removed from the mercy of God. It does not mean death. In fact, death is a gift for a Muslim. There were additional arguments from these modern Christians, but we did not find them logical or worthy of a response. Instead of making false claims, we should adhere to the evidence. The Mubahala concluded with a peace treaty, reminding us that as Muslims and as fellow humans, we should always respect one another and accept differences. We should never mock anyone, especially when they hold certain figures as very holy in their religion. We should always respond with the best of morals, even if others do not. We should never try to win an argument through deception or without sincerity and proof.